What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're focusing on Fiji eyeing out a position in the Six Nations as the controversial chairman departs from Fijian rugby. Now Fiji have been in a lot of news, and unfortunately negative news. There's been talks of them being kicked out of rugby as a whole, with all the controversy of the guys behind the scenes that have obviously had criminal offences, and I'm not going to get into that because this is all about sport. But Fiji Rugby Union has announced the controversial chairman in Francis Kean has departed on Thursday, which is today, recording of this video, and also revealed the Pacific Islanders were hoping to join Six Nations competition. Now, there's obviously been a link between Fiji and Bill Beaumont and Laporta as things have been going on to get that all-important vote to Bill's way. Now, obviously, in latest news, there's been people calling for a re-election of the World Rugby chairman, as they feel there's a little bit of things going on in the background that hasn't been too fair, and a lot of it has come from this cause of Fijian former chairman being involved. But having said that, we'll have to wait and see. World Rugby denies these claims that they're going to look at it, so obviously they would. The chairman's the boss, so he's not going to do it. But we'll have to wait and see. If it calls up enough of a storm, we will see. But let's focus on today's topic. Fiji possibly joining the Six Nations. Now, I know they've got a good relationship with Bill and Laporta, so anything is possible. I think when we all think of who could join the Six Nations, the big talk has been South Africa, because South Africa have been in the talks of moving north. But Fiji, we're trying to figure out ways on how to develop the Pacific Island teams, bring them into these tournaments so that they can have an opportunity, because they got talent. There's talented players within. We've seen phenomenal rugby players being created in Fiji, and they deserve to have the opportunity to play more. Yes, controversy, those guys deserve to be punished, but the teams, the innocent blokes, deserve to have an opportunity at playing rugby. So for me, it's any opportunity for these guys to have an opportunity will be great. Now, Kean, who was convicted of manslaughter in 2007, stood down from World Rugby Council in April after being accused of so many media reports, the recordings of him, etc., etc. So now he is obviously resigned. So now we're looking at probably reshaping and restructuring the Fijian Rugby Board and seeing how we could approach this opportunity of Fiji. Now, if we look back at the Rugby Championships, so much talk has been obviously South Africa Sanzar, South Africa leaving Super Rugby to go north. There's so many talks about that. Not going to get too much involved because obviously we've been talking about it most of the week. But the talk has been the Trans-Tasman Cup, which is going to be massive because it's going to give opportunity for obviously New Zealand, for Australia, 2 to 4 teams, whichever they decide on, and then the Pacific Island teams. And one is going to probably be Fiji being a major part. And you'd think Fiji being Pacific Islanders would come over to the south because we're all in the southern hemisphere. But now joining Europe, is it possible? I personally feel no. I think it's going to cause a little bit of chaos. I mean, if there's a lot of diehard Six Nations fans that don't even want the Springboks to join the tournament, how can Fiji join the Six Nations? What will you do? Do you make it 7 nations? Do you play a relegation between Italy and Fiji? Is that fair? What about Georgia, who've been fighting so long and hard and proven their worth to maybe enter the Six Nations? How can we just throw them apart? So there's a lot of things going on that we need to not forget going forward and just putting in a team. The only thing I'm concerned about is Fiji's relation. Well, I'm concerned because I think the development in Fijian rugby needs to happen. However, I feel it should be in the south. But because of the relationship and the history with Bill, probably makes sense for them to, or you can understand why they will get that relationship. We don't know what the promises were, why Fiji signed on for Bill, why Japan signed on for Bill. There's obviously money involved. There's empty promises that be given. If you do this, we'll give you this, X, Y, Z, boom. So Japan probably going to join the Rugby Championship in the future. Fiji may be joining the Six Nations. But time will indeed tell. How do I feel about it? Six Nations, if we're going to South Africa going to be removed from so I would rather us, the Springboks, join the Six Nations. It's going to be more competitive, it's going to be intense, it's going to be exciting. No disrespect to Fiji, obviously they've got phenomenal talent and can definitely cause a headache or two. But then you've got Fiji and Italy, who are looked at as the weaker teams of Six Nations. They're going to probably get a little bit destroyed. So how are we going to incorporate it, and how is it going to benefit the tournament? It might actually tend to weaken it. If it is the case, maybe play a relegation between Italy and Fiji when it gets an opportunity, if that happens. But for me, if anyone's going to join the Six Nations, personally, for me, it should be South Africa. As for Fiji, I do hope there's development. I know the potential within their country is phenomenal. There's great talented players. We see them in sevens, we see them in 15s. They are there. They are ready, and can do this and achieve the success that they want. But joining the Six Nations, I don't see that happening. If anything, they need to join the Pro 14 to get a bit of feel of European rugby, because it's completely different to the way they play. When I say different, obviously the style, the kicking game, the weather. There's so many aspects going into this that they need to really adjust. So they're eyeing it out. Nothing's been confirmed, nothing's been said, but who knows what will happen. The beauty of rugby is that we need to bring this game more of a global game. This is what Bill's promised. It was one of his things that he said he's going to do. How he's going to do it will be the question. But that could be interesting. Fiji joining the Six Nations. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this particular topic. Do you agree or do you disagree? And what should happen to Fiji? Should they join the Rugby Championship? Should they join Six Nations? Or should World Rugby formulate a tournament to include Fiji a little bit more, with Japan and maybe a few internationals going here? COVID-19 has created something massive upon World Rugby, and they need to start making changes in order to benefit the game for you and me, the fans. Let's see how they do it. The ball is in their court. It's now time for World Rugby to act. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.